everybody, it's Maggie, and I just wanted to talk to you today about some things that I do for my students when we have exams. So, I think something important for us to remember is, as high school teachers, we think a lot of times that high schoolers don't think things are fun, they don't care about prizes and things like that, and we try to not baby them. And I think sometimes this intention, while it's good, it's actually like the intention is good, it's not actually good practice. And this is something that I've seen in my teaching. So let me give you an example, just a simple example. So high schoolers are really bad about saying, you know, this is stupid, or they don't think something's cool, or whatever. When I did paper copies of assignments, I used to put stickers on them. And I'm talking about just random stickers. I at one point have bought this big sticker book that was made for little kids that had Monsters Inc. stickers and Toy Story stickers and stuff. And they were pretty big. I mean, they're stickers about this big. And I would just put them on their paper. I have never had kids be so excited about something. I mean, we're talking about from 10th graders to 12th graders being excited over a sticker. Okay? So this is what I'm saying. We'll say, oh, they don't like little kid things. But they're kids. They're still kids. I mean, I like stickers. That's why I bought them. And I'm, 20-something. So, anyways, that's kind of to illustrate my point. So, something that I try to make sure I do for my kids is, I know that exam time is super stressful. And also for me, even though I thought of myself as an intelligent student that usually did pretty good on tests and stuff, I was anxious. And when it came to certain kinds of tests, I was good at English, I was good at history. When it came to science and math, I was not too good. And those tests would totally freak me out. So, I try to keep that in mind, that every kid could use a little pick-me-up during exams. So, here's something that I do. Now I'm going to warn you. It takes a lot of time. But I find that it's worth it. So, what I will do is I will handwrite every single one of my kids a note. And this note can say a lot of things. All of them across the board say something like, kill this exam, ace this exam like I know you can, show me how much you care, things like this. So things for the exam. But that's the very last thing that it says. Other things I put in the note are things that I'm proud of them for over the year, or things they've improved on, or if it's a kid that I joke with a lot, I'll put a joke or an inside thing from throughout the semester. And it's pretty much just a little personal note. Now, I don't have any that are more than 5 sentences, but it's their name, something I like about them, maybe something to improve on if it's a kid that really, I think it would be a good thing for them to do, something funny, and then, do really good on this exam, I believe in you, blah, 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 sign my name, done. So, I went to Hobby Lobby and I got these, and it's just a pack of cards, but they have envelopes, and then this pack, there's 48. And these are cute, they're all these stripes and stuff, so they're pretty generic, they're pretty, I could give them to a boy or a girl, whatever. And this pack was $10, but they had them on sale for 50% off because I don't pay for nothing full price at Hobby Lobby. Excuse me. And so they were $5. Oh gosh, I about threw them on the floor. So it's just a nice little card. They're totally blank on the inside, and then they come with an envelope. So what I do is I just write the kid's name on the envelope. I write my message on the inside. I seal it. And then for exam day, I don't know how your school does it, but my school does it so that we don't give our own exam. So what that means is I don't actually see my kids on their exam day because we only take one exam a day. So I just lay them out on their assigned seat, and they read them before the exam starts, and they have a little pick-me-up, they have a little laugh. And my hope is that it eases their anxiety. It reminds them that I know that they're going to do well. It reminds them to maybe try if they're not feeling like they really want to try. But here's some things I've heard back from them in the past. So last year when I did them, I didn't actually do nice little cards or whatever. I had some big long Post-it notes, and I just stuck them up on the board with their name on it, and when they came in, they peeled theirs off. Now, that also meant that they could read everybody's, which I didn't say anything bad, so it doesn't matter, but I could see where maybe people would have problems with that. But anyways, it was mostly just like jokes and things from throughout the year because it was a really funny class. So those kids are still at my school because they were only sophomores, so now they're juniors. Every time they see me, they say, "I still have that note you gave me." You know, and it was something I did like super last minute. Like I wrote down a joke that had involved them throughout the year. And like, for instance, one of the girls is Hispanic. We talked at some point about hot sauce and something. And she talked about how she didn't like hot sauce. And I was like, what? You're Hispanic and don't like hot sauce? And we joked about it or whatever. And she laughed. And so like, I wrote on her little piece of paper something about hot sauce or whatever. She's like, I still have that. I kept it. So evidently, they're very important to them. So this year, I tried to amp it up. I tried to do some nice cards. I tried to actually write some really good things on it. And I also like it because it's a nice way to give them a pep talk without being there. So I have a boy in one of my classes right now who sometimes he tries really hard, sometimes he doesn't. He's totally capable. It's just his work level or whatever. So what I did was he plays football, and evidently he's really good at football. And so I wrote on there, try as hard on this exam as you do in a football game. You know, and that's something he can connect with, and hopefully he'll give it a lot of effort. So sometimes it's pick-me-up things, sometimes it's funny things, sometimes it's nice things. But what I can tell you is all of the kids like them. And I guess it's also because I'm keeping it positive. Now here's what I will say. When you do this, you have to write one for everybody. So I have a couple of kids that annoy me to no end. Well, guess what? I had to figure out some things to say to them. And to be quite honest, it's probably a good exercise for me in remembering that every student has something good about them. So, I wrote all the notes, and I've sealed them, and put them on their desks, and they get those on exam day. Now, I can see where some complications is coming. Like I said, if you have a really tough class, it might be hard to write these for them. If you're one of those teachers that has the schedule where you have all of your classes all year, I can see where that can become complicated because there at the end you have to write like over 100. So it's something, you know, you could start on before exams. I'm a procrastinator, so you know, I do it the night before. But I even tell the kids, I'm gonna write you a little note. Well, they get even excited about that. So, you know, it's one of those things that it's a little something that I can do to hopefully help and give them that last push there at the end. The other thing that I do is, since our exams are first thing in the morning, I'm very concerned about the students having breakfast. Now, I can't afford to go to Bojangles and buy everybody a biscuit. And also, I can't be in the room when they're giving the exam and stuff. And also, for like my English 2 class that's EOC, like they have a long time for the exam, so I don't want to push the exam from starting earlier by like giving them a biscuit that takes a long time to eat or something. So what I do is I go to Walmart and I buy the huge boxes of granola bars, and I buy all kinds. I buy the fruit and grain ones. I buy those crunchy granola ones. I buy like the chocolate chip granola ones, like the Quaker ones. I get a whole bunch of different kinds. And all I do is I tell the kids beforehand. I said, hey, if you don't get a chance to eat breakfast on exam day, I will have granola bars. I will have enough for everybody to have one. And you can have a granola bar on me. So I guess this is me saying, I want you to really try on this exam. I care about you doing well. I don't want you to be hungry. Because everybody knows if you're hungry, you can't focus, you don't do well. All you're thinking about is how hungry you are. And I'm at a Title I school. So a lot of our students get breakfast. Well, if they get there late, they don't get breakfast, all these kind of things. Now, here's the question. How do I monitor if I'm not in the room? Who gets a granola bar, who doesn't, who gets 3, all these kind of things. I don't worry about it. Because of what I tell them, if you need a granola bar, take one. If you need a breakfast bar, take one. If you don't need one and you don't want one, don't get one. And I tell them to please take one. But I'm not in the room. I sit them out in the room for them to take at their leisure. Here's what I will say. I've never came back in the room and had all of them be gone. Now, I don't sit out all 100 of them, because if I have 30 kids in 3 classes and I have to sit out 90, I don't put out all 90. I try to put out like a good variety of all of them. Maybe about, if there's 30 kids in the class, I might put out 30 or 40, whatever I'm feeling, and that's it. But I've never come back into class and had all of them be gone. There's always 5 or 10 left or whatever. So the way I look at it is, if somebody takes an extra granola bar, they're hungry, and I can't get mad at them for that. So that's my other thing that I do, and the kids seem to really appreciate that too. And to be quite honest, it really doesn't cost me a lot of money. I think one of the boxes has like 30 granola bars in it, and it costed $6. Last time I got some, I got cheap off-brand, and I kind of felt bad about it because I was like, oh, they'll taste the same, and I tasted them and they tasted awful. So I didn't get those this year. I went ahead and just splurged and got like the legit ones. But the kids oftentimes will tell me thank you. So that's something else that I do. And yeah, it costs me a little bit of money, but it's a simple thing. Now, here's your other question. What do you do with the surplus of granola bars? Well, I keep them in my room. And I keep them in my room for a couple of reasons. Number one, a lot of times I'm hungry and I will eat one. But also, I keep them locked up in my closet. And if I hear a kid talking about how they're really hungry, or if it's a kid I know that got there late and they didn't have time to get breakfast, like I can throw them one or say, hey, come over here and pick out a granola bar so you can eat and focus. If I have a kid talking about that they don't have money for lunch that day and they don't have free and reduced lunch or something like that, I can throw them a granola bar. So they get used. I don't have to really worry about them going bad. I mean, I don't buy like a surplus of them. Usually I'll have maybe 20 or something left over. So that's something else that I do. If I feel like I've got a lot of them and they're starting to go bad, I give them out as prizes. Kids love food, so. Now, I will say, with some of these things, you can't let yourself get kind of downtrodden. So for instance, there's always going to be a kid that says, I don't like these flavors of granola bars, or I don't like granola bars, or whatever. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, somebody's always going to complain. There will always be one kid that doesn't like the letter that you write them. I had a kid last year who thought that his letter didn't have anything nice to say. And what I will say is, he was a kid that drove me crazy. And I had a really hard time trying to find things to say. But he's super intelligent. So I wrote on the card, you're really intelligent. You're so smart. I know you're going to do well on this test. I didn't have any inside jokes or funny things to say with him. And to be quite honest, a lot of times when I did joke with him, he would get angry. So, what happens with the card? He gets angry. He's mad that he doesn't have a joke and everybody else has a joke. It's okay. He passed the exam. He passed my class. He moved on to the next grade. It doesn't matter. So, keep in mind that no matter what you do, somebody's not going to like it. Somebody's going to complain. You're going to hear it from someone. I feel like that's life, and that's teaching in general. But you just deal with it. And for the most part, I can say everyone else is happy or pleased with it. So that's my piece. I think all of this stuff is important because, like I said at the beginning, we really like to write off high schoolers as, oh, they don't like fun things. Oh, they don't want us to show that we care. Like all these they're not lovey-dovey. But I will say for the most part, I found that all of them are. And even my rough and tumble football boys and all this kind of stuff, they still will be like, oh, I like that card that you gave us. So, I think you just kind of have to give it a go. If it doesn't work for you and you don't hear any good results or things from it, then don't do it again next year. But it's just a simple thing that you can do. You for sure don't have to buy cards. You can use regular paper. You could do sticky notes like I did and just write a one-sentence thing. But for me, I just decided to splurge on it this year because I felt like it worked really well. So this is something I do for my classes across the board. And I think it's something you could do for your classes. You could do it, I think, for any age. I could see this working from kindergarten to high school, 12th grade, like I said. You could modify depending on when you do your testing and things like that. Of course, it's a little bit more personal if you can pass them out. I could possibly pass mine out on the last day of class as opposed to exam day, but I feel like it's most effective if they get it right before they take the exam because it's fresh on their mind. So that's just kind of my 2 cents worth. I hope that you can pull something from this and help your kids. It is exam week for us, so this is kind of fresh on my mind. And I'm going to go and I'm going to finish writing my cards for my kids. So hope you have a great week and I'll see you later. Bye.